12 rap songs.
You'll grow in the ghetto, living second rate, and your eyes will sing a song.
12 times a parent turned down the radio, and the damage was already done. You know the names on this list, but here's what the history books leave out. The FBI wrote letters. A federal judge in Florida declared a rap album a legal crime. A sitting United States president stood at a podium and condemned a single record by name.
For your freedom. Don't be a...
Stores got raided. Artists got arrested performing their own music. This isn't nostalgia. This is the story of how hip-hop went to war with America and why the culture never came back the same.
Dre got some tricks from the city of Compton to serve me, not with a cherry on top.
Starting at number 12. Number 12, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message, 1982.
I bet you couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close.
Before gangster rap had a name, before the parental advisory sticker, before the FBI letters and the Senate hearings, there was one song on a summer day in 1982 that changed what rap was allowed to say.
My feet wear a shirt and tie and run with the creeps, cause it's all about money, ain't a damn.
And here's the thing, it almost never existed. Sylvia Robinson, head of Sugar Hill Records, had a demo tape she was convinced was something different. She took it to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, who were at the time one of the hottest rap acts in New York, and every single person in that crew said no.
Like hell till one day you was found hung dead in the cell. It was plain to see that you...
Mel has talked about this publicly. The group passed Wonder Mike from the Sugar Hill Gang through the demo across the park rather than touch it. Not metaphor, that actually happened because the message was dark, slow, uncomfortable. It described inner city poverty, prison, suicide, the psychological weight of watching a neighborhood destroy itself from the inside. Hip-hop in 1982 was still party music. You weren't supposed to make people feel like this.
Sometimes it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. My son said, Daddy.
Only Mel finally agreed to record it. Partly, he said, because he trusted Sylvia Robinson's instinct. And when it dropped on July 1st, 1982, radio DJs didn't have a category for it. Grandmaster Flash himself has admitted he didn't even want his name on the thing. But parents felt it immediately. Not because it was explicit, because it was a window into a reality they'd spent their whole lives choosing not to look at.
They wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging.
Middle-class America in its living rooms, suddenly hearing the specific texture of a life happening right there in their own city, delivered with a calm that made it impossible to dismiss as theater.
Got a bum education, double-digit inflation, can't take the train to the job. There's a strike at the state.
The message didn't just shock parents. It opened a door. Every record on this countdown walks through that door. That's why we start here.
Gave him a transplant for a brand new start. I can't walk through the park, cause it's crazy after dark.
Number 11, Naughty by Nature, OPP, 1991. Here's something that barely gets acknowledged in the censorship conversation. The FBI wrote letters, the Senate held hearings, courts issued rulings, and almost every record they targeted gave them something specific to point at. A lyric, a threat, a four-letter word they could put on the table as evidence. Then, OPP hit number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the fall of 1991, and parents had nothing to point at. Not a single explicit word in the entire record. Every line is coded, built in plain sight with a children's song underneath it. The Jackson 5's ABC, arguably one of the most innocent records ever made, flipped into the backdrop of a record about infidelity that entire school hallways were singing word for word before most parents had decoded a single line. That's the part that took a while, because at first, parents just heard a catchy song their kids couldn't stop repeating. It was everywhere. It was in the car, in the house, in every backpack and every Walkman. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. The phrase was on t-shirts across New York in weeks. Nationwide within months, kids were singing it at full volume at the dinner table, and then somewhere around the third or fourth week of their kids singing it, a parent finally stopped and actually listened to Tretch walk through what those letters stand for, and everything went quiet.
But if you don't, here's your membership. Get down with LPP. Yeah, you know me.
Here's what gets me. Tretch, Ben Rock, and DJ KG from East Orange, New Jersey built a record that got past every single filter parents had constructed. No radio edit needed. No court could touch it. No warning label covered it. It landed completely clean and sat in your living room for a month before anyone realized what was actually playing. The irony that the Jackson 5, a family group, parents' music was the key that unlocked the whole thing. That's not accidental. That's architecture. Real talk. Only 9% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That hurts a little, not gonna lie. We spend hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life because this music deserves to be remembered. And you're here because you care about that too. So if these videos mean something to you, if you've ever said, damn, I didn't know that, or felt something while watching, just hit subscribe. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube to show this to more people who love this music like we do. Let's build this together. All right, back to the story. Number 10, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back, 1992.
Shake that healthy butt. Baby got back.
June 18th, 1992. MTV receives complaints from viewers and cable operators. They respond by restricting the Baby Got Back video to after 9 p.m. only.
A lot of simps won't like this song, 'cause them punks like to hit and quit it. And I'd rather stay.
The video, which featured Seattle rapper Sir Mix-a-Lot performing on top of a giant inflatable yellow behind, was deemed too explicit for regular rotation. Their label's publicist called him immediately with the news, and Anthony Ray, Sir Mix-a-Lot, later described exactly what happened next. The restriction didn't slow the song down, it reframed it. Overnight, Baby Got Back went from a summer rap novelty to something the system was pushing back against. MTV had just given it the one thing it didn't already have, credibility as a threat. The song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on the 4th of July, 1992.
Now here's my scandal. I wanna get you home and double up.
5 weeks at the top. Second best-selling song in the United States that entire year, behind only Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, Grammy Award for Best Rap Solo Performance in 1993. But here's the layer that gets missed in most tellings of this story. Mix-a-Lot has been consistent about what the record was actually doing, and it wasn't just about what the title says.
My list. He had game, but he chose to hit him. And I pull up quick to get with him.
The song opens with 2 women critiquing a black woman's body, and then flips that entire conversation upside down. It was a direct response to a specific beauty standard that had been the only acceptable standard in mainstream American media, one that explicitly excluded the bodies of most black and brown women.
On them real thick and juicy, so find that juicy double. Mix-a-Lot's in trouble.
MTV's senior VP of music programming has since explained the ban on records, and Mix-a-Lot has since been equally on record that the controversy is what turned a hit into a legend. His exact words: "It was no longer a novelty, it wasn't cute, it wasn't simple, somebody didn't like it."
In the magazines, you ain't it, Miss Thing. Give me a sister, I can't resist.
Elvis was wiggling his hips again. Parents in 1992 who turned the radio down when it came on, and there were millions, thought they were protecting something. Mix-a-Lot thought they were making him a millionaire. He was right.
Ooh, rumpa smooth skin. You say you wanna get in my bins? Well, use me.
Number 9, 2 Live Crew, Me So Horny, 1989. If you wanted to find the moment where the argument over rap music became an actual court case, a federal judge, a legal ruling, people getting physically arrested, it starts here.
Pie, I'll break the girl's
Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke, Miami, Florida. 2 Live Crew had been building since their 1986 debut. Explicit Miami-based music, built for the club, for the car, for the culture they came from.
My appetite is love, 'cause me so on, man.
But as nasty as they want to be, in 1989, with Me So Horny as the flagship single, that was when it became a national incident. A conservative attorney named Jack Thompson in Coral Gables, Florida, made it his personal crusade. He pushed the campaign into Broward County. And in 1990, U.S. District Court Judge Jose Gonzalez ruled that As Nasty as They Want to Be was legally obscene. First time in American history a music album had been declared an illegal product by a federal court. Record store owner Charles Freeman in Fort Lauderdale got arrested for selling it.
Never to the movies, just straight to my house. You said it just.
Uncle Luke and Fresh Kid Ice were detained and charged with obscenity after performing at an adults-only club in Hollywood, Florida. Stores across the country preemptively pulled 2 Live Crew products. Sheriffs in Alabama were seizing cassettes off shelves.
If she knew you just been had, I'm a freaking heat. A dog with a.
And here's the part of this story that cuts deepest. Uncle Luke has been clear about it in interviews for decades. This wasn't just about dirty rap. This was about a specific kind of black cultural expression from a specific city being treated as criminal, while the content of mainstream Hollywood, mainstream television, mainstream everything else, all of it was left entirely alone. The appeals court overturned the ruling in 1992. 2 Live Crew won in court, but the battle cost them years, legal fees, and a targeted harassment that didn't come for anyone else at that level. Number 8, Body Count, Cop Killer, 1992. Ice-T, 6 in the Morning, 1987, the ice-cold blueprint for everything that came after. 5 years later, same man. And this time the President of the United States responds. 1992 is a specific moment in American history that you need to hold in your head before the record even plays. The Rodney King beating happened in 1991. In April 1992, the 4 officers involved are acquitted on camera. Los Angeles burns for 6 days. Over 50 people die. More than 1,000 are injured. The city is on fire. That's the world Cop Killer drops into. Ice-T's metal project Body Count releases their self-titled debut album in March 1992.
But tonight we get even.
Cop Killer is on it. Ice-T has always been clear. It was a protest song, fiction, told from the perspective of someone pushed to their absolute limit. The same tradition as 100 rock and metal records that had said similar things without anyone organizing against them.
For Daryl Gates, for Rodney King,
President George H.W. Bush publicly condemned the record from the White House podium. Vice President Dan Quayle followed. Police organizations announced boycotts of Time Warner, which owned the label distributing the album. Shareholders threatened to pull investments. Warner Brothers executives were receiving death threats. Law enforcement agencies in cities and countries around the world organized opposition to a single piece of music. Ice-T made the call. He voluntarily pulled the song from the album. No court order, no legal ruling, just the weight of the situation. The threats escalating toward people he worked with, toward people who had nothing to do with the record, and he pulled it himself. The same year Cop Killer was being condemned as a threat to law enforcement, the 4 men who actually beat Rodney King on camera were acquitted and walking free. The protest was treated as more dangerous than the act it was protesting. Cop Killer remains difficult to stream on most major platforms today. Number 7, Salt-N-Pepa, Push It, 1987. Here's a record that didn't just shock parents. It almost never existed at all. Cheryl James, Sandra Denton, two women from Queens, New York who formed Salt-N-Pepa in 1985. By 1987, they'd already made history. First female rap act to go gold and platinum with their debut album Hot, Cool, and Vicious. And they had zero interest in what was about to become their most famous song. Push It was a throwaway, literally recorded as filler for the B-side of a completely different single called Tramp. Salt herself has spoken openly about it. She felt the song undermined the group's credibility. It didn't say anything. It didn't stand for anything. It was just a groove. A San Francisco DJ named Cameron Paul remixed it into a tighter radio version in 1987, and that remix is what changed everything. DJs started flipping the Tramp single over and playing the B-side instead. Crowds responded immediately. Radio followed. By February 20th, 1988, Push It peaked at number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 2 in the UK, everywhere simultaneously. At a concert in 1986, before the single even dropped properly, police misheard a lyric during the performance, waited for the show to end, and approached Salt-N-Pepa backstage to arrest them. They had to produce the written lyrics on the spot to prove what they were actually singing. Think about that. A song with not a single explicit word. Police standing by ready to make arrests because of what they assumed was being said. And then in 1989, the group was nominated for the very first Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance. The Recording Academy decided that award wouldn't be televised. Salt-N-Pepa, along with LL Cool J and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, boycotted the entire ceremony in protest. The song they hated became the one that defined them. The award they earned got treated as second class, and somewhere in a living room in 1988, a parent reaching for the radio dial had no idea the record they were trying to silence had already won. Number 6, Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, 1994. There are records that fight their way in, and then there are records that just move in and make themselves at home. Doggy Style drops November 23rd, 1993, and sets first week sales records for a debut album at the time.
This ain't no joke. I had to back up off of it and sit my cup down.
What's My Name is the shock entrance, the declaration. But Gin and Juice, released as a single in 1994 and peaking at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, that's the record that moved into the suburbs and stayed. Here's what parents couldn't figure out about it. Not just the content, though the content was explicit. It was the tone. Snoop talked about rolling up and pouring up and having the house to himself the same way your uncle talked about what he grilled on Sunday. No apology, no awareness of who might be listening, no performance of danger. That last detail, the house to yourself while your parents are gone for the weekend, that landed in a very specific way across 1,000 households because their kid was nodding to that line like it was a life goal. And the parents in the doorway were doing the math on every weekend they'd left the house.
She used to be my homeboy's lady, 80 degrees when I tell it.
Radio ran edited versions, bleeping words that everyone already knew, which made the song sound like it had rhythm hiccups while leaving the meaning completely intact. The edit gave radio stations legal cover. It didn't change what was communicated to a single listener.
somehow, some way. Keep coming up with funky ass hits.
Snoop in 1994 wasn't performing danger, he was performing comfort. He made that live sound like somewhere you genuinely want to be. And for a generation of kids, it worked. In the barbershop debate about whether this was art or a threat, that one ran for years. You know which side you were on.
Take me a drink to the middle of the street and get the Mac into this trick named Sadie.
Number 5, the notorious B.I.G. Big Papa, Ready to Die, 1994 to 1995.
True player.
By 1994, parents had been in this fight for over a decade. They'd built their arguments, refined their objections, learned the language of the debate, and then, Ready to Die, dropped and introduced something that didn't fit any existing defense. Christopher Wallace, Clinton Hill, Brooklyn. His mother was a preschool teacher who worked night shifts. By 17, he was selling crack on the corner. By the time he made Ready to Die, he was 21 years old.
Tonight they should be having my baby.
And the weight of everything he'd already lived by 21. You can hear it underneath every track on that album. Big Papa was the radio moment. Dropped as a single in January 1995, it peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, delivered with a specific Biggie confidence that made it immediately impossible to ignore.
They attract them with that line, what's your name, what's your sign? Soon as he buy that wine, I just...
Parents objected to it, the language, the implication, but it was Ready to Die as a complete album that did something different from everything before it. This was a record built by a man who had already accepted his own death.
Smoking line optimals, money holes and clothes, all a nigga knows.
The album opens with a birth skit and closes with a gunshot. The title was not a metaphor. Biggie was telling you from the first moment exactly what the record was about. Parents who heard the singles could make their objections. Language, subject matter, the usual arguments, but kids who were actually listening to Ready to Die weren't listening for entertainment.
That should be having my baby. Straight up.
They were listening for recognition, the emotional truth underneath all of it, the weight, the love and loss, the specific way that life bends towards certain conclusions when you grow up in certain places. They recognized it, not necessarily from their own life, but from something real.
Giving ends to my friends and it feels stupendous. Tremendous cream, fuck it up.
And when parents saw their children recognize themselves in this record, that's when the fear shifted from what the music was saying to what it meant that their kids understood it.
You got the gun up in your waist, please don't shoot up the place. Cause I see some
Number 4, Tupac Shakur, I Get Around, 1993. Here's where it gets complicated, and if you've spent any real time with Tupac's catalog, you already know what I mean. He was always multiple things at once. He could give you Dear Mama, one of the most tender, emotionally precise records in the history of this genre, and then turn around and give you something that made parents reach for the dial before the first verse was finished. That wasn't contradiction. That was the whole point. He refused to be one thing, he refused to be boxed. I Get Around drops as a single in 1993 from Strictly For My Niggas. It reaches number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 that summer. Digital Underground's Money B and Shock G are featured, giving it a West Coast party energy and a groove that was genuinely hard to resist. The production made you want to turn it up. Your parents walking through the room while it played was just a risk you had to accept. The content was explicit, unfiltered, an unapologetic celebration of promiscuity delivered with a grin and zero concern for who was in earshot, not performing deviance for shock value. What got parents about this record was the same thing that got them about Snoop, the casualness of it, the ease. Like this life wasn't something you had to justify or defend, it just was. But here's the thing about Tupac that this record alone doesn't tell you. The same year he dropped I Get Around, he also dropped Keep Your Head Up.
Now everybody's looking for the ladder. And ain't no need in being greedy.
one of the most empathetic records any male rapper has ever made about women's experiences. Both records, same artist, same year, both completely sincere. That combination, that willingness to be genuinely everything at once. Parents who tried to make him into a simple threat kept running into the version of him that dismantled that narrative. I already know the comments on this entry are going to be split. Drop your take, I want to hear it. Number 3. Number 2, DMX, Rough Riders Anthem, 1998. You're in the car, your parents are driving, you're in the back seat, and Rough Riders Anthem comes on the radio. Just the bark. Before a single word is rapped, just that bark comes through the speakers, and you felt the energy in that car shift in real time.
No, that's how Rough Riders roll. Stop.
From the back seat, you could feel it. Your parents' grip on the steering wheel changed. Something in the air changed. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Earl Simmons from Yonkers, New York, DMX. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Drops May 12th, 1998.
Stop. Shut them down, open up shop.
Debuts at number 1 on the Billboard 200. First week sales records for a debut album at that point. And DMX doesn't arrive. He erupts. Here's what made Rough Riders Anthem land differently from everything on this list. Every prior entry had content you could identify, language, subject matter, and ideology, a sexuality, something specific to oppose.
My home is the grave. I'm a pull papers. It's all about the papers.
Rough Riders Anthem operated at a different register. It was the raw energy itself that alarmed people, not calculated aggression, not produced menace. Something that sounded like a man who'd been pressed all the way down to the floor and was coming back up without a single buffer between the pain and the microphone.
I cannot maintain with madness on my brain. I resort to violence. My killers moving.
Parents couldn't categorize it. It wasn't what he was saying. It was how he existed in the record. That frequency, primal, unprocessed, like hearing something private that wasn't meant for public spaces, that was the alarm. But here's what they missed, what his fans always knew.
Give a dog a bone. Leave a dog alone. Let a dog roam and he'll find his.
DMX was praying before every single show, every performance, in private before he walked out and gave you that bark. And the man who terrified parents on mainstream radio was one of the most spiritually intentional people in the industry.
Oh, no, that's how Rough Riders roll.
The rage and the prayer were the same person, not in conflict, both completely true. Earl Simmons left us in April 2021.
You haven't met the apes. Stop. Drop.
Number 1, Eminem, My Name Is, 1999.
Supposed to be this soft. I'm about to pass out and crash and fall in the grass faster than a fat man.
Everything on this countdown so far, every FBI letter, every court ruling, every presidential statement, all of it happened because a specific cultural fear was already in place. The fear of black urban culture breaking through the walls mainstream America had built around itself.
My name is Slim Shady. My name is what?
That was the shape of the panic. Then Eminem showed up, white, from Detroit, and the framework had nowhere comfortable to go. January 21st, 1999. My Name Is premieres on MTV's Total Request Live. It becomes the number 1 most requested video on TRL.
Hi kids, do you like Primus? Wanna see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my
First rapper to hit that number before the week is out, Dr. Dre is producing. And what lands in living rooms across America is this: a white man in his mid-20s with a cartoon alter ego called Slim Shady, rapping about his own mother, his wife, drug use, violence, and every institution within reach, with a grin on his face and a precision of wordplay that was impossible to dismiss or look away from.
Hi, my name is my name is my name is.
The Slim Shady LP goes triple platinum by the end of 1999, and Eminem becomes the most argued about figure not just in American music but in American culture. Here's the piece that still cuts. His own mother, Debbie Mathers, filed a $10 million slander lawsuit against him over his depiction of her on My Name Is.
Messed up worse than my life is. My brain's dead weight. I'm trying to get my head straight, but I can't.
His own mother went to court. The suit was eventually settled for $25,000, of which she actually received $1,600 after legal fees were taken out. The relationship between Marshall and his mother had layers that neither the lawsuit nor the records fully captured. He addressed it years later on Headlights. She wrote a book. It's complicated in the way that real families are complicated, but here's the larger thing that My Name has forced America to reckon with. Every argument parents had made for 15 years that this music came from a specific community, that certain voices didn't belong in certain rooms, Eminem put all of that on trial.
Eyelids? Wanna copy me and do exactly like I did? Try to get me.
Because here was a white kid from lower income Detroit making the same music, saying comparable things, and suddenly the conversation had nowhere clean to go. GLAAD organized sustained campaigns against the Marshall Mathers LP.
Club, have my jacket zipped up, served the bartender, and walked out with a tip cup.
His mother sued. Critics went to war, and every month the records got bigger. The more the institutions pushed, the more people bought. Sound familiar? It should.
I ain't had a woman in years, and my palms are too hairy to hide. Whoops. Clothes ripped like the